You Jesus. There you go.
Yes, and yes. Oh wow, these are classics.
Huh?
The classics.
Mhm. Dinaf is already saying hi, Dash.
Hey, Danav, how's it going? Hey, girl.
Hello, guys.
Oh, we
Welcome.
got nice, nice. When did this arrive, Salim?
Which one?
The stream elements.
Oh, Stream Elements. Oh, I sorted it out. I mean, you can see it's not yet perfect, but it's amazing. It's got
Yeah, yeah.
it's got something. It's got like the what do you call it? Like a leaderboard of our viewers, and so now share it with everyone afterwards, because basically, like we want to be able to reward people who watch the most and people who do stuff on the stream with lessons and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's very yeah, it's got a lot of tools which we can use.
Follow on.
Welcome, Terry.
Hey, Terry, how's it going?
So yes, that's what have you been up to before we get into the serious stuff?
Just, just working and moving and non-disclosable things.
Hey, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I've been very busy in the past couple.
Okay, so that they know you're moving to Cape Town and
Well, I'm in Cape Town currently. Yeah.
yeah, and much more so that they know you're moving on a permanent basis, right?
I'm here permanently now. Well, we'll see, but for now, yeah, it's pretty fun.
Okay, it's something I'm trying to sort out. Okay, it's something.
Which overlay are you using? Are you using Predator?
Yes, yes, yes. We're using Predator.
How's the new PC, by the way?
Huh?
How's the new laptop?
Sorry.
How's the new laptop?
Oh no, it's working. It's amazing. I've got no complaints. We can do more than we thought. So one of the
Yeah.
things which is apparent now is that our connection is a bit slow. Guys, we'll start shortly, just sorting out a few things. Um,
I've got 5G next year at the place that I'm at the moment.
you've got?
But 5G, 5G connection.
Oh, okay, okay.
But then I'll see when I move to the other place what's available there.
Yeah, here in Cape Town, we pretty much have got everything. you will not, you will not complain. Man. Okay, if you're in the chat, I'm just waiting for everyone to be there. Just say hi so that we know you're there. Because once we lift off. Uh, uh,
I know Terry is in there. Grail's in there.
Greywood is in there. Nice. Oh, yeah, I see.
Was a
I was trying to change this alert, which makes noise. I don't like noise, but I can't find it. Can't find what I need. Okay, I guess we will have to somehow cope with the noise as it comes. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, guys. So what we are going to continue with is the concept of individuality and style. In the previous sessions we've had, you've seen how it affects the overall decision making of a person. It's not just a question of the most objective move, it has to be the move which also suits the way you think and the way you see things and your understanding. And today's game, the one we're going to look at, it's a game of Vitolins, who was one of the top players in the Russian community in the 40s and 50s, I think. And in this particular game, he's playing a very good theoretician. His name is Engon. So most of these players you would never really hear about because they were not world champions, but the level of chess and their understanding was way above some of the even top, 100 players. So anyway, let's let the game judge for or speak for itself. So the game we're looking at, Dash, you've got the invite, right?
yeah.
That's why I was trying to change that alert.
It's good enough for that. It's an E4 C5.
Yeah, please. Okay. So E4 C5, knight F3, D6, D4, C takes D4, knight takes D4, knight F6, knight C3, E6, and here bishop B5 check. So I guess this is the first part where you kind of deviate from the usual, from what you normally would expect. And this guy Vitolins, if you look at his games or a collection of his games, you find that he used to play this line all the time. That was his line. Hey, Chopin, welcome. Just to let everyone knows, yes, you're a VIP, Chopin.
Yeah, you're VIP now.
Okay, so yeah, I guess as a player, if you're playing black, you have to start thinking, and it's not a big deal, but you are pretty much kind of like on your own, except like the guy who's playing white knows this very well. So after bishop d7, we need to queen c7, Bishop e3. Oh, these are standard positions for pieces in the Sicilian. Knight c6. Castle's long. a6. Bishop takes c6. It's interesting that he doesn't move backwards. Bishop c6. Knight c6. Queen c6. And he goes f3. Nothing much to write home about. Bishop e7. g4.
Very solid structure for both sides, right?
Exactly, yeah. g4, castle short. And I want to say something about this position. And because it took me a long time to start actually understand what's happening in these positions. Now, the first thing is that if you are very intent on winning with white against the Sicilian, you have to do long castling. That's the first thing. It's like if you're going to for combat in the Sicilian, you have to do long castling. When you've done long castling, one of the things you again have to
Push the king side pawns.
that you have to go for is that in that long castling also there's the greatest risk of actually losing. So there's potential gain and also there's also risk. So that's why when you look at the analysis of these positions, you find that they say it's double-edged. It can go either way. So the more the person who's the most familiar with the different tactical resources in the position, the one who's more familiar with the position will definitely stand a chance to win that position more. So here, short castling, and now my question to you is, what do you do? This applies to everyone. Dash, you're a Sicilian player, but here I'm asking for white. How do you proceed?
White. Oh, you gotta go h4, h5, and break open on the king side.
Correct. That's the idea. That's the main idea. But there's a move, a preparation move that is so common in these positions. So that's the plan you
King
want to
b1.
Yeah?
King b1.
Yes. This is something that I noticed that a lot of people omit in their attacks in the Sicilian. And it's this move, King b1. Yeah. Very good, Chopin. I'm sure you wanted to say b1. King b1. And a lot of people miss this small idea. Before you launch your attack, make sure your king is on b1. It will save you so much in many positions later. But if we look at this position for a Sicilian player, actually black has gotten a good outcome out of this setup. And if he loses in this position, it's just failure to utilize what he has. So here, after king b1, b5, queen to d2. Okay, so this move, if you were to play b4, now you don't have knight a4. So you're creating a square here, which is a good square because it can go there, it can go there. Maybe sometimes it can even go there. So queen d2, knight d7. Notice the patience in preparation that white is exhibiting. And after knight d7, knight e2, knight e5. Of course, you can see that square. And white goes knight to d4, queen to b7. And now, what do you do? What we focus on when we are in training is demystifying these moves, taking the mystery out of them, making it possible for you when you sit over at the board You go, okay, this is what I would play.
E3.
Very good. B3. Again,
Deny knight's advanced outpost.
correct. So he's simply going for like making sure his opponent does not have counterplay. And his opponent is constantly going for, okay, figuring out how do I create counterplay. So he goes A5. Very logical. You can put your knight on C4. So uh, so you go
Gonna do
for
the next best thing. The next.
okay. So A5. So now before proceeding, of course, you need to understand what he is doing and how you can neutralize it, right? So this is a critical moment. What do you do?
Now you just continue with your plan, right?
And a lot of people would do that, and it would be the wrong thing. F4 according to enough. So that would be a careless move.
The free
G4,
pawn.
yeah. G4 would 4. You don't really have an attack here. Is knight C4 playable? Nah, not in this position. H4 kind of looks there. That's what Dash said. H4 ideas like that. But if you just did that, you would fall prey to other problems, especially the opening
He has
of line.
he has a hook on his end of the attack.
Yeah,
You don't.
yeah,
Attack land
yeah.
first.
Your attack is definitely not fast, and you need to be very objective about things like that because if you're not, you're just going to launch an attack hoping it works and it won't. So you don't play chess on hope. You actually plan it out. That's why people take a bit of time when they look at positions like this and go A, B, C, D. Okay, good. I'm going to do this.
Queen E2.
You need to very good. Yeah. So the idea here is, of course, if you give him an opportunity here, you will take on B5 and exchange queens if possible. Because
Yeah, because you win a pawn.
exactly. Right? So you need to, so you can see rook F B8. Yeah, queen E2 correct, chopping.
So now F4 works.
Of course, is attack. I mean, the way white plays this position is impressive. Not F4.
Not F4, huh? Okay.
No, queen e2, I guess is a valid move. Really, g5, I mean, I think that's what you mean, Ted. The problem with pushing these pawns without a plan is it will backfire because you've got nothing to latch onto. Black has been very careful. He has not created any weaknesses. There's no,
H4.
yes,
H4.
h4 again. That is a hopeful move. Yeah, you hope like it
Oh,
works.
so.
Because if you really think about it, how are you going to do these pawns in front so that you attack, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so white takes a very interesting defensive stance. He goes bishop c1. Very counterintuitive. It's like
So, yeah, but I can understand because the dark squares around his king, it's too passive for me, right? I would rather play for activity in this position.
for something more active.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't, bishop c1 is not innately a move that I
But let
would,
me explain something which I thought was actually quite nice. You with a bishop on b2, right? How many attackers does black have?
black,
Like yes,
yeah, three attackers.
yeah. And with a defender there on b2 and a defender on d4,
Yeah,
there's no attack. That's the first thing. The second thing is
yeah.
what Chopin is saying. The bishop on b2 looking on the king side is overwhelming combined with your pawn pushes.
Yeah, but I mean, you could contest to the bishop f6.
Bishop?
F6 can contest the bishop on
Oh yeah,
b2.
no, by all means. But every time you move that bishop, d6 also will be weak. Also, g5
Yes.
now has got stuff to hit on,
Yeah.
right? So the moves are not in a vacuum. It's concrete and combined with positional concepts, right? So it goes bishop c1, a4, and he goes g5. Now that bishop is not going to land on f6. And here, black goes... Yes, and if you move f6, e6 is weak. And you understand why black at this point decided to challenge this knight, because it's preventing a lot of things. So, again, a critical moment. In the chart, what would you do here after knight c6? You're playing white. Okay? What do you do here?
So the knight has no squares to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take, then it's a mistake.
The knight just wants to play f4. Chopping is correct. No, chopping is definitely correct. Just take consider. Don't move the pawns on the kings on the covering the king. Every time he takes with the a pawn, you take with the c pawn. You defend the whole queen side. The bishop is here, is doing a lot already. And again, by taking on c6, you are reducing the number of attackers that black has. right?
Oh yeah, you can't allow knight. The real threat is knight b4.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yes, you don't want to allow this knight to b4. Very good. So Chopin, you've got it right. So here, after knight takes c6, queen takes c6, and with the knight exchange, black forfeits all the initiative that he had in this position. Because what's the maximum number of pieces that he can always muster on the king side? It's always going to be 3, limited by this bishop. There's no mating attack. And that comfort for an experienced player means now the only person who can push for an attack is white. And the pace at which his attack comes doesn't really matter. Okay. So after queen takes c6, what do you do?
H4.
Eh?
H4.
Okay. So again, this h4. Okay, Chopin. So if you play h4, again, you're going for an attack. But how many pieces can you put into this attack?
You can put 3 in.
Okay, so
Maybe 4.
so give me a picture. If you could make
Okay,
moves,
so,
with black not making a move.
yeah, H4, H5, and then G6. And then you put a rook on G1. Then you exchange.
So h4, h5, h6 is always going to be met with g6, and you're not opening lines, right? Your best hope is going to be maybe to try and push for g6. But every time you play this g6 idea, it's always interesting. Black gets to put a bishop on f6, defending everything. So those attacks don't work. It's important to understand that it won't work, and you don't have to waste your time with it. So white plays the move b4. Oh, Yubo says, I like the look of f4. Again, let me repeat this again. People do this because they've seen attacks like that, but they don't understand why they're doing it for that game. In this position, it won't work because you don't have enough pieces. And this is the direction I want you to go, in the direction of understanding what you're doing, understanding what's happening in the position. You can't go f4, f5 here. It won't work because you don't have enough pieces. And the thing you need to understand is you can't be attacked either. Once you get that, you've got the time to prepare what you need. So by playing b4, this may look like nothing more than an attempt to avoid the opening of lines on the king side. But what white is doing is he's busy restricting black's pieces. And the squares that he's giving to black can't actually use. For instance, c4. If you had a knight, it would be a dangerous square. But right now, the bishop is a dark square bishop. It's not going to be able to use this square. Even if you attack as much as you want on c2, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. Okay, and if you play something like a3, rook d3, queen c4, on c3, there's nothing happening on the queen side. Gone, nothing, no plan basically. Okay, so after b4, black goes rook d8. He realizes that the rook on the closed file is doing nothing, so maybe he could go for this plan. White simply goes a3, rook a c8, and now he's done pretty much everything he needs on the queen side. You can start now with the idea of playing h4. Now, the reason why he plays h4 is if he puts his bishop here, the g5 pawn is not protected. But now, after h4, you can see that in this position, white is playing with a plan. Black is having to try and figure out what to do. And so far, it's not working. So after h4, queen c4, what do you do?
We don't exchange.
Okay, Dash thinks we must exchange. Any other ideas?
Isn't this just a better endgame if we exchange the queens? Oh no, it's not. Yeah, no, we don't exchange.
Okay.
We don't exchange.
Why?
Because one, we're the side with the initiative, and two, exchanging just activates black's position.
Okay, you was thinking queen g2 again, a typical idea. This position is not that position, right? Dash is correct by saying you must not exchange, because if you exchange in this position, the problem is white has got a lot of space advantage. Once you exchange pieces, that space becomes weakness. Now, you must also understand that black is a bit cramped, so exchanging will only help black. Queen g2 takes the queen out of the zone of action where it needs to be. Rook d3, this is where the weakness is. g6.
Disruption.
Right?
Yeah, disruptive move.
So just rook d3. And now black goes d5. What do you do? And you can imagine this must be very confusing to black, because he's been expecting white to kind of lash out. But white is just taking every move that he makes and turning it into a strategic fight. So he goes e5 or d5. This is the move that has been taught that in the Sicilian, if you push d5, you've managed to equalize.
Late for that.
So what do you do? In the chat, what do you do? Not a complex move. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake, just try it. What would you know, the rook h d1. Hey, welcome Snowy, how are you? Rook h d1. Okay, so rook h d1 again allows for exchanges. Very good, enough. Very good, Greod. Rook h d1 allows for exchanges. Remember, you've got a space advantage. You don't want that. You want to close the position and keep building. There's no rush. He can't attack you. So e5, very strong move. And here, that one of the things that's happening is that, of course, Black is a bit confused. Doesn't really understand all these moves normally should work. Um, and I guess here it's a critical moment. There's a move that I would have been worried about if I was playing white. And in the game, Black didn't play it. Black played Rook D7. But okay, imagine you're in a game and you have to assess this move, Bishop takes B4.
Yeah, that's a bit scary.
Yeah. And after A takes B4, Queen takes B4. And this could be a bit difficult to assess, but still, a piece is a piece, and the rooks are not joining in. But it definitely needed to be assessed. I don't know what the computer thinks about this position, but you would be
B4 after this.
this is a desperate move. If you have to do this, this is not the most optimum.
I would say 10 out of 10 times, right? Because I mean,
Yeah,
it would
of
just,
course.
it'd be so difficult to play this position otherwise.
Otherwise,
Like,
otherwise you're just going to get lost. And of course, white puts a shutdown on that with one move, Queen D2. Immediately, this sack is no longer there. So this process of the way he's playing is the process which we call consolidation. So after Queen D2, Rook DC7. What do you do? Tina found the one move he says is so cool.
you're very cool, Dina. Very cool. Um, H5 doesn't work because then you get hit. Hmm. I'm thinking Rook C3. Oh no, then Queen to stay. Never mind, hold the phone in that one.
What do you do? Bishop B2, no? I think all of you are kind of ignoring what your opponent is trying to do.
Yeah, it's trying to take on C2.
Exactly. So that needs to be addressed.
Let's go Queen E3. Let him take on C2 and move the king away. Or you go King A1. Leave.
Ed enough won
I don't know, C3.
200 out of
C-
a Greyhounds tournament. You were saying?
oh yes, I saw. Yeah. So there's
Very
Queen.
good.
Yeah, okay.
Very good from you, bro. Just shut it down. I mean, there's no need to risk anything. There's absolutely no need to risk anything. You're winning. Patience. Patience pays. Haven't you seen that in hospital?
No. Only after the second.
Okay, so Rukesh 2, right? So now there's nothing that Black can do. So he goes Queen C6. I mean, the queen could have been left where it was. It looked more threatening. But I can imagine the frustration. You have to be asking yourself, what am I going to do next? And you can't actually pinpoint one idea. So Bishop B2 is such a simple move. And Bishop D8. And you can see that at this point he's a bit disturbed. It's a bit of disorderly thinking. Of course, he wants to activate this bishop, and if you can bring it on b6, maybe it's active. But all these things cost you time. So now white continues with h5, 28, which is a further mistake, f4, g6, and here uh, white is trying to basically get through to the other side. What do you do?
Yes. You open up the line.
Okay.
Take on G.
How do you go about it?
There's only one way to open up lines.
Which is?
But you only have one option. Yeah, H takes on G6. H takes G6.
Yes.
H takes G6.
No, not h g6.
I am cold. I am very cold. Is it not H takes G6? I mean, then it must be F4. I mean, F5. These are the only two breaking moves you have.
This move is very instructive because the problem is this, right? If you go h takes, he opens the f line and the rook starts being a defender. There is a principle that, like we always say, major pieces are not defenders. But if you place a rook far away from your position,
It almost.
it becomes a defender, right? So here, white plays f5.
Yeah, F5, F5, but it was looking a little bit suspicious.
Right?
Suspicious.
But once you think about it, it makes sense. Right?
Hanging, but it's not.
Yeah?
Yeah. It looks like all of the pawns are hanging, but they're not.
Yeah, I mean, the problem for black is how do you recapture? So let's say if the pawn went to f6, which is a problem. Now, you only need to pile pieces on the h file and take on g6. And you've got real threats if the pawn is there, right? Because it starts limiting. So f5, gf5. Again, you can't risk to open the e file because now suddenly this could be unleashed and our deadly bishop is back in the game, right? So he plays a g takes f5, and of course you want to open lines, so you go g6, f takes g6, h takes g6, And here, taking on g6 will allow queen h6, and that could probably be game over. So it goes rook g7, check with check, and now the king hides behind our own pawn.
Yeah. Um, what defense is this called?
Which
There's a
one?
name for this.
Oh, okay.
One way,
I
yeah, your opponent's piece to defend, right? The pawn. It's actually usually a case with the pawns on g7 and the king's behind it.
yeah. So what do you do here? How do you continue?
And you're like a pawn up. Oh no, it's actually a pawn. It's not a pawn up. Just gotta attack the weaknesses.
Okay. I'm waiting for moves. Queen takes g6.
Go queen h6 first. No, you can't. As contemplated. Oh, this is difficult actually.
Yeah.
Rook h3.
Well done, chopping. Chopping saw it. Rook takes d5.
I was looking at this move, but I wasn't sure if it worked.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah. Because then you push, but then I'm like, does it really work though? Could not imagine it working in this universe.
There's so many ways in which it works. So definitely taking is not possible, right? Immediately. Because if you take, he goes e6 and he's threatening check and he's threatening check. And he's got this check, he's got that promotion. Right? So this would not be a good idea. But black finds an interesting move. Bishop g5.
Yeah, bishop g5. Keep the game alive.
And after bishop g5, queen d4. Pawn takes d5, e6. And
Isn't it now deadlier? Because
rook c7 because of the pin.
yeah,
And now he
there's
plays,
just too much pressure.
here he plays queen e5, which is quite nice. He's threatening queen c7. And look at the efficiency of white's pieces. This rook on h2, what it's doing, and how also it's also looking at the king and defending the king. And after queen e5, Queen d8. There's potentials for this, like potential of this move, and he protects his pawn. So here, the truth is his pieces are still stuck. These two pieces are not playing. So he's got 3 pieces, whereas white actually has 4 pieces. So after bishop d4, f4, goes rook h5. He's really threatening the bishop. He goes f3. What do you do here? This is a critical moment.
Queen takes.
Queen takes what?
No. Wait, do I have a brilliance here? I just might.
Very good. Rook takes g5. And it goes rook f2. What do you do?
Let's just kill the bishop.
Hmm?
Oh no. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Yo, rook takes g7.
Rook takes g7. Very good. He goes check. I see in Blitz a lot, like these are the most difficult positions to play when you have to make the right king move, right? The right king move.
Yeah, king d2 because there's no more checks up.
Very good. King to b2. Rook takes check.
I mean, you forced to take the rook. I don't know what's the question here. You have to take the rook, otherwise it's mate.
And after queen c4. And after queen c4 check.
Oh, then king d2.
King d2. And there's no more checks. And game over. White wins. Black resigns. So at the end of the day, reason and logic like prevailed, and the stuff, it's not that you couldn't even figure it out. You could figure it out, but when you couldn't, it's just that because you were in a hurry to do something that had nothing to do with the position, right? And this is something very important to understand, because playing the playing positions like this requires understanding, and of course your style is going to determine also how you play the game. But I can tell you right now that again, this is not we are looking at this master game so that we understand. But right now, I don't think it's a major thing. If anything, most of you don't actually know the way you should be playing. So, yeah. So I was saying, if you missed it, we've got a system now which measures. Of course, the more you watch, the more you earn points, and if your points reach 1,000, you get a session and an analysis of your games and so on. So Dash will help me figure out how to publish the stuff. It's already live, and I think yesterday there was someone leading. I forget who it was. Um, at Greywood, I think was on number 2 with 50 points or something like that. And the game, maybe if I can share it with you, just hang on in there so that I give you. Yeah, it was an easy win. Let me see if I can share this with you. It's a loyalty leaderboard.
Easy win.
Do you know how we share this kind of stuff, Dash?
What do you mean?
Huh?
Can't you share screen?
Okay.
What you're seeing now?
Okay, let's do that.
Can't you just do a window capture of what you're looking at? But I think we can add it in if it's bolted to Twitch. Right?
Yes, I think it should be. So yeah, you get the idea here.
Yeah, please stick around. We are gonna raid some.
Yeah. So this is kind of the current one and what people watch and so on. So we'll be able to publish it soon, and it also explains. Let's see. Oh, there you go. This is what I should be sharing with you. There you go. Okay, so
yeah, we are raiding. Give us some time. We will raid right now.
Yeah. So in there you find the game, the points, how it works, and we can play it, and you can see who's currently leading. I think Greywood today is already leading, and so on.
Yeah, that works. It's just that, right?
Yeah, our currency is called Afros.
It's called Afro.
Exactly.
Okay, hectic.
Yeah.
All right, man.
I always had this idea that I wish Africa had the one currency, like like the euros.
Yeah.
And it would be called Afros. Who do we rate?
The Afros. Yeah, there's a lot here. So, we have Anna Kramling. She's looking a bit low.
She's saying like
the real Nas Nakamura, right? You want to? Okay, we can raid.
No.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have too few people.
Yeah, we just get drowned.
Let's go to Dina. Belenkaya. Yeah.
Let's go to Peshka. He's small. He needs people.
Peshka.
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
It's fine. I'm doing it.
Okay, cool.
It's
You're in
right.
my absence. You've raised the challenge.
Yeah, I need an Afro, and an Afro is all I need. It's a pleasure. Welcome back, Dash.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cool.